As Kenya navigates a complex economic landscape, Kenyans should still brace themselves for hard economic times. In a recent report released by the Institute of Public Finance (IPF), Kenya is still at a high risk of debt distress on account of its breaching the upper threshold of several critical debt sustainability ratios.
Kenya is not reaping fully the benefits or the returns that we should be reaping out of the high borrowing that we have had over the last 1 decade. And what that means is that the economy is at a high risk of running into debt distress.
IPF says even if the IMF would reclassify Kenya as a country with high debt carrying capacity, it's projected that the country would still be in breach of the upper limit until at least 2027.
We know over the last 1 decade, our growth has been debt-driven, but now our growth is stagnating at 5%.
The forecast shows that in the case of major shocks like the depreciation of the shilling, Kenya risks increasing her inability to service debt that could potentially precipitate a crisis.
Kenya is at high risk of debt distress, and if we have an adverse shock, we will definitely default.
Inflation continues to play out differently across different sectors. According to the Institute of Public Finance, it's one of the main contributors of the fast depreciating shilling and is making the debt pressure even worse. Sectors that seems to be highly affected includes the health industry.
Many Kenyans are one medical bill away from poverty. And that's a fact that is reflected even within our figures and within our analysis.
Gladys Washira, a researcher at the Institute of Public Finance, painted a grim picture of Kenya's health sector.
We are having the population is mainly youth-centric. We are having the donor financing transition, and we're also having the disease transition, where we are having a greater and greater burden of non-communicable diseases.
The national level budget for health suffered a 2% cut in the financial year 2023-2024 supplementary budget, which has seen the industry's budget decline from 2.3% to 1.7% in the GDP share. With that, Kenya is staring at a health financing crisis as major donors gradually pull funding. For instance, immunization programs funded by Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, will end in 2027, and the effects are already being felt with reported shortage of contraceptives, condoms, ARVs, and testing kits.
Is the Kenyan government, are we able to have a budget that is able to bear the weight that will come with the costs that were previously financed by donors?
However, IPF listed key policy issues to monitor in 2024, that including settlement of the €2 billion Eurobond, fiscal deficit management, where questions abound on Kenya's ability to keep the fiscal deficit in line with the planned levels, privatization of state-owned enterprises, which poses potential risks of inefficiency and corruption. IPF also highlighted the need to fast-track the implementation of UHC laws. Linda Koskei, K24, Business.